Hello, my name is Aubrey. I'm so glad you're here. It has been over a year since my last library organization video, and I am long overdue for another one. I had to double check just how long it had been since my last library organization. It was in May of last year, and literally so much has changed since then. It's crazy. I don't know if this is going to be a yearly video or not, but like from last year to this year, so much has changed. At the end of last year, I peeled the fantasy label off of my channel and I now just read whatever I want. I have fallen in love with so many different genres. I am officially a certified horror girly. I have fallen in love with horror. My certificate is coming in the mail. And I don't have a horror section. In fact, I don't have a section for so many different genres that I have come to really enjoy. And so this is going to be a complete library overhaul. I'm talking like the whole thing is going to have to be redone. This is going to take all day. I put on my comfy clothes because I was originally wearing a dress and I was like, no way. I need to be super comfy. Anyway, let me show you what we're working with today, what the vision is, kind of what I have in mind. I'm really excited and I hope you enjoy the video. All right, so this is the library. I'm going to try to give you like a panning overview of everything the best I can. So the newest edition, very, very exciting. My dad built me these bookshelves in this closet for my manga because my manga was just sitting in a heap on the floor since we moved into this house, which was, I think, 2 years ago. So for my birthday, I was like, please, 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 can I get some bookshelves in this closet? I'll try to show some clips of what it looked like. It was really embarrassing and very sad. So anyway, these are now here. Very, very excited about that. And this is, you know, the rest of the library. Got some bookshelves to the right of my desk. I've got some bookshelves to the left of my desk. The way I have it set up now, I have middle grade here, and it kind of bleeds down into YA. And then, you know, over here I have like adult fantasy and YA fantasy, mostly hardcovers and special editions, and just like a lot of really pretty books. I do really love this side of of the library. It's very pretty. However, I don't super love that like the two sides of the library feel so disjointed. Give me 1 second. I have a wide angle lens for this camera and let me put it on and see if that's helpful. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I was saying I don't love that this side feels so disjointed from this side. I know a lot of people have genres by bookcase, you know, like they would have all fantasy and then like romance and whatever, like per bookcase, but I was kind of thinking that it might be cool to have it all going across. And so what I want to do is I want to have all of my book of the month books like up here at the tippy top, because I really like when people have their book of the month books all lined up together. Especially when they are like in kind of a color gradient with the little tabs on the spines, you know. I don't have enough to go all the way across, but I figured I would just start and see how far I can get. I think basically I want to have the library organized by age and then by genre. So like, again, book of the month books up top, and then I want that to go into, I guess, some other genres like adult contemporary, adult romance, adult mysteries. There's a lot of genres I've been dabbling in that I don't have a lot of books for quite yet, but I want to, you know, just like get those organized and grouped together the best I can. Then I'm thinking maybe I'll do either adult sci-fi or adult horror, and then adult fantasy, and then we'll move on to YA, and then we'll move on to middle grade. But the very first thing that I want to do today is organize my manga, because I think there will be enough room to maybe move my graphic novels that I have down here into the closet with my manga, which would be really nice and would free up all of this bookshelf space. So that's where I'm going to start today. Oh, I hope I can get all of this done today. I guess we'll see. But yeah, that's the vision. Also, all of these books that I've hauled, this thing that you keep seeing in the middle of the room, all of these books that I recently hauled need to go on the shelves. So that is another thing I need to tackle today. There's also some over here on my desk. So let's get to organizing. So I wasn't super sure how I wanted to organize my manga. I feel like in the past, I really just organized it by vibe. But, you know, since it's been like sitting in a closet all of this time, I couldn't remember like how I had it before. And so I decided to do it alphabetically, which I'd never done before. I don't know if I'm going to keep it this way because I realized pretty quickly that some of the shelves were too short for the volumes, like some of my larger volumes to go vertically. So you'll see me stacking some books horizontally. All of my Full Metal Alchemist volumes had to go in horizontally because they were just a little bit too tall. They were scraping right up against the top of the bookshelf, and I just didn't want them to get damaged if the bookshelf started to sag under the weight of like the books on top, you know? So I might rearrange at some point, but for now, like, I think it looks good and I'm happy with it. I did have to move some of my much larger volumes like Berserk and Akira down at the bottom just because they looked really weird up at like towering up at the top. But yeah, in general, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I'm so happy to get my manga off of the floor. So I got back into reading and collecting manga in 2021, which was a really weird time to get back into manga. It was during the pandemic, so there were like paper shortages and manga was actually like really hard to find. There would be certain volumes that would go, you know, out of stock and they would skyrocket in price. Nobody knew when we were going to be able to get reprints of stuff like that, and so it was just kind of a crazy time. I accumulated a lot of manga in that time, and so all of it sitting in my closet for so long, kind of inaccessible, I had really built up in my head like how much unread manga I had, and I definitely have a lot. Don't get me wrong, I have plenty of unread manga, but I was pleasantly surprised actually when I finally got to organizing it all, like how much read versus unread I have. I mean, there's certainly a lot of work to do, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So there ended up being plenty of room, which is very nice. So I'm gonna start moving my graphic novels over here. So I signed up for Book of the Month exactly a year ago. For the longest time, I was really on the fence about how I felt about the little tabs on the spine. I used to think they were like really ugly and obnoxious, but I saw somebody on Instagram who had all of their Book of the Month books like lined up perfectly and they were in this color gradient, and I was like, wait, That's actually really cute. And it changed my mind, like instantaneously. And I was like, I decided to give them a try. And I've really enjoyed my subscription so far. So this is like a year's worth of books. And, you know, one day I hope to have Book of the Month books just all the way across. I think that would be really adorable. I was kind of surprised at how small my horror section ended up being. I guess I shouldn't have been, but I don't know. I definitely just like, I've fallen in love with this genre. I feel like the majority of the books that I've read this year have been horror books, and so I think this is the section that's going to grow the most rapidly. I really foresee this section expanding, and I wanted to give myself plenty of wiggle room because, yeah, I've just really been loving it. I feel like a really big part of the process of organizing a home library like this is trying something and deciding that you hate it and then trying something else. Like, I really wish that you could just organize in a completely linear, straightforward way, but that's just not how it works. Like, you put books on the shelf and they just like don't hit, and then you gotta like redo it. Especially if you're like me and you're just organizing by like vibes and aesthetics. I don't know. The feel of the books is really important to me. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of organizing and reorganizing in this video. My mom made that bookish plate that you keep seeing for my birthday. She's gotten into pottery and she's gotten really good. It's so cute. I absolutely love it. So it's no secret that I have a pretty large physical TBR. At least I don't mean for it to be a secret. If you didn't know, I have a really large physical TBR. I've been thinking that maybe I should do some kind of like tackle my TBR series on the channel, but I'm just curious for those of you who do collect physical books, like, do you have a large TBR? How large of a TBR are you comfortable with? Do you keep track of your TBR? Do you keep your TBR books separate from your read books? Because I just keep all of my books mixed together, which is maybe a mistake, but that's just how I do it. So yeah, I'm just really curious like how other people deal with their TBRs. Like, are you really good about reading every book that comes through your door in a timely manner? Or are you more of a books are like wine bottles in a wine cellar and they don't necessarily have to be read right away and you can let them sit and, you know, pick them out when it is the perfect time to do so? I guess I personally fall into the latter group, though I will say my TBR is getting to a point of being a bit overwhelming. So I feel a lot of envy for people that are able to stay on top of their physical TBRs. So if you're able to stay on top of your physical TBR, how are you doing that? What would your advice be for a manageable TBR? Or if you have a really large TBR and you just like don't care, tell me about that. Tell me how many books are on your TBR. I would love to know like the ratio. What do you think your ratio of read to unread is? Because mine is skewed very far in the camp of unread because I have a really bad habit of unhauling books that I've read. If they aren't like a favorite of all time, I just like don't want it. And then I have like plenty of book space so that I just keep collecting books and not reading them fast enough. So, you know, it's like super embarrassing. Like, don't tell anybody, please. Let's keep it between you and me. But, you know, just wondering, just asking for a friend. Let me know. What are your thoughts and feelings on physical TBRs? Hello, it is the next day. I finished organizing. It took all day. I was not expecting it to take as long as it took. I think the first time I did it, I didn't like, it wasn't the entire library. You know, I was just kind of moving things around and trying to make things a little bit more aesthetic, but it wasn't like a complete overhaul. And so this time around, it was a complete overhaul. It took forever. I finished around like 9 p.m. I was so tired that I, you know, couldn't bear to do an outro or to film the library. So anyway, here I am for you the next day. It's done. I'm really happy with it. I might tinker with it a little bit more in the future, but for right now, I do really, really love it. I am going to go around the room and give you an overview of everything, but I'm not going to get too close because I do want to film an actual bookshelf tour. You guys have been asking for it. I feel like this is the video that I get asked for the most. Is a library tour, and so I will actually be doing that this year. I promised it last year and I didn't deliver, but the reason I didn't deliver is because I didn't have the right kind of camera. Like, I had no idea how to actually film that and also narrate it while I was doing the tour, and I have a camera that will let me do that now pretty easily. I'm better equipped, and so sometime this year you will be getting an official library tour, but I am going to show you what I did and how it turned out, because I do think it looks very nice and I think the room looks a lot more cohesive, and I'm just really excited for some of these other genres to continue growing. I've really fallen in love, like I said, with horror. This year I've fallen in love with like contemporary fiction and thrillers and mysteries. I'm looking up because that's where they are, is up there. I want to continue to explore new genres, and I hope that, you know, section of my library continues to grow. So anyway, let's go see what it looks like. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of the video. Please let me know what you think of how I organized everything. Like, should I have gone, you know, bookshelf by bookshelf rather than like wrapping everything around the room? I also experimented with like interjecting paperbacks and hardcovers, which I've never done before. I've always kept them separate. So yeah, just let me know. Do you think it turned out well? I'm happy with it, but you know, it may not be to everyone's taste. And if you just want to let me know that you were here, please leave me a yellow flower emoji for these adorable earrings that I got recently. They're hypoallergenic, which is really nice. I'm very, very allergic to lots of different metals, and it's really hard for me to find any jewelry, earrings specifically, that I can wear. And I found these very recently at like a little market we went to, and they're so cute and I love them so much. So leave me a little yellow flower. If you're looking for something else to watch, I will leave my original library organization video right here if you want to just see how it looked before. And if you want something a little bit more recent, I will leave my most recent book haul here, so you can see a bunch of the books that I just added to these shelves. But yeah, please like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I hope to see you next time. Bye!